Admissions officers spend an average of just 7 minutes looking at your applications. That's your GPA, extracurriculars, and your essays all in 7 minutes. If your essay doesn't immediately hook them, all your hard work over the past 4 years could go to waste. Hundreds of hours spent writing, revising, and polishing could mean absolutely nothing if your essay isn't compelling from the very beginning. You don't want to be part of the group whose application gets skimmed and tossed aside. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to write a jaw-dropping, engaging introduction paragraph that grabs the admissions officer's attention and keeps them reading all the way through. And stick around because by the end of this video, I'll give you a proven template that our clients have used to write hooks that help them get into their dream schools like Harvard, Duke, and Stanford. Now, why the hook matters within your essay. Let's face it, admissions officers read hundreds if not thousands of essays. Many of them are boring, generic, and forgettable. Your introduction paragraph isn't just the first thing they see, it's your first chance to stand out immediately. Think of it like this. The hook in your essay is like the opening scene of a movie. If it's boring, why would anyone keep watching? Admissions officers need to see right away that you're unique, interesting, and worth investing their time in. If your essay starts with something like, "Since I was a child, I've always wanted to," or "Hard work has always been important to me," you've already lost them. They're overused and tell the reader absolutely nothing about you. So how do you write a hook that actually grabs their attention? Surprise plus specificity plus stakes. So the first one is surprise. Admissions officers read hundreds, like I said, if not thousands of essays every single year. Most of them start the same way, with cliches, generic statements, or bland introductions that make their eyes glaze over it. Starting with something surprising breaks the monotony and forces the reader to pay attention. A surprise could be a bold statement, a shocking statistic, or a moment of unexpected tension. But here's the secret. A surprise needs to make sense in the broader context of your story. If it feels random, it won't work. So for example, instead of starting with "Volunteering at a hospital taught me compassion," you could start with, "I didn't expect the first patient I ever helped to curse me out while I was changing their bandages." The second version grabs attention right away because it's unexpected, specific, and immediately raises questions. What happened? Why were they angry? How did you respond? A strong hook draws the reader in and makes them want to keep reading to find out more. Now, the second part of the equation, which is specificity. This is the golden rule of college essays. Specificity equals authenticity. The more specific you are, the more real and relatable your essays become. Specificity makes your story yours, something that no one else can replicate. The best advice of show, don't tell is rooted in this exact idea. When you show, you paint a picture for the reader, and as the saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. By visualizing the scene and putting the reader in your shoes, you convey more depth and emotion than you ever could with vague or general statements. For example, instead of writing, "I worked hard to achieve my goals," you could instead say, "Every night for 3 months, I stayed up until midnight rewriting my debate arguments surrounded by empty cups of coffee and crumpled sticky notes." Do you see the difference? The first sentence is generic and could describe anyone. The second version immerses the reader in your world, making your experience feel real. But remember, balance is key here. You don't have room to describe every single detail, so choose the ones that matter most and connect to your larger story. Now the third one, which is stakes. A good story needs stakes. It's not enough to describe a vivid moment. You need to show why it matters. Stakes answer the question of why should the reader even care? They're what make your story meaningful, giving it depth and purpose. The stakes could be personal, like, what's at risk for you? Or universal, how does this moment reflect something bigger about life or the world? Without stakes, even the most beautiful written scene can fall flat because it doesn't connect to a larger theme. Like, what even is the point of something that you try to describe beautifully if it doesn't even matter in the first place? For example, instead of writing, "I studied hard for months to pass my math exam," try this. Failing the math exam wasn't just about getting a bad grade. It meant I lose my chance to graduate with my friends and face another year of starting over. By highlighting what's at stake, you give the reader a reason to care and invest in your story. The stakes don't have to be life or death, right? They don't expect you to, try to die, right? Just for the sake of getting into college. But they should matter to you in a way that feels authentic and meaningful. Here's some examples of engaging hooks. "Sweat dripped down my back as I held the scalpel. This wasn't a classroom experiment. I was in the middle of a makeshift operating room in rural India, and my decision in the next 5 seconds would determine whether the stray dog on the table lived or died." Now, why it works? It's specific, surprising, and immediately sets up high stakes. The reader wants to know more. And here's another one. "The first time I coded a program, my computer crashed so badly that my entire family had to share one laptop for a week. That's when I realized 2 things. I loved coding, and I had a lot to learn." Now, the reason why this one works is because it's personal, specific, and introduces a problem with a touch of humor. "For 5 years, I avoided anything with ketchup, mustard, mustard or mayo, not because I was picky, but because my fear of condiments nearly cost me my closest friendship. Why it works? It's quirky, unexpected, and makes a reader curious about the story behind it. And because you stayed until the end of the video, here's the easy template to use to write a killer hook with any essay idea. I want you to start with a vivid scene, statement, or a question. So for example, I didn't know at the time, but the letter I was holding would change my life forever. Then add a specific detail to ground the reader in your story. Here's an example. It was crumpled and slightly damp from my sweaty hands, but the words "congratulations" jumped off the page. Now you then explain why it matters, which is the stakes here. So in this example, it would be, this wasn't just an acceptance letter, it was proof that my years of struggle, late nights, and self-doubt were finally worth it. Your hook is your first impression, and it's your chance to prove you're not just another applicant within the sea of applicants. Even UC's, for example, last year had 250,000 applicants. So follow the formula: surprise plus specificity plus stakes, and make it impossible for admissions officers to stop reading your essay. Now, if you're feeling overwhelmed throughout high school, especially when you have grades to keep up with, essays to write, and SATs to study for, check out this video to completely remove overwhelm and chaos in high school. But before you click, if you're serious about writing essays that stand out and want expert guidance throughout the whole process, click the link in the description to book a discovery call with us. Our clients have used these strategies to write essays that got them into top schools, and we'd love to help you too. That's it for this video. If you found it helpful, you can subscribe, like, comment, and all that good stuff, but I'll see you there. Peace.